I'm going to be discussing the running backs. And the running backs, this one I'm going to go a little bit easier. Sorry about that. I was getting bottles of water here. I decided to do. I thought that I would have a pause feature. So give me 1 second. I'm going to get myself a drink of water. All right. So next up is going to be the running backs. Now, obviously, Antonio Gibson. So the list of running backs that played this season. I'm not going to be talking about the players that were on the roster per se, but I'm going to be discussing the players that played. Here are the list of the running backs that played this season for Washington: Antonio Gibson, JD McKissic, Jaret Patterson, and Jonathan Williams. Those are the guys that were active for Washington in the 17-game season. I'm going to lead off with the number one guy, Antonio Gibson. So Antonio Gibson, first 1,000-yard rusher for Washington since Adrian Peterson. Congratulations go to him. Scored touchdowns. I want to say he scored like maybe 8 touchdowns this season or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. No, I don't think it was 7 touchdowns. I think it was like 6 or 7 touchdowns. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But, now the only thing, he had a pretty solid season for Washington, but he did have a fumbling problem. I think he fumbled like 6 or 7 times this season, and that's what held him back. Now, we could blame the transition on the running back situation, on him on him fumbling, because he's not used to that. He's used to being a wide receiver. He at Memphis, he was wide receiver, and when Ron Rivera picked him up, in the draft, he drafted him as a running back. So I don't know if we could blame him on the transition, but he did fumble, and a couple of those fumbles happened in the red zone when Washington was in scoring position. So, did he have a solid season? Yes. Did he run for touchdowns and make big plays? Yes, because I remember he did score that 66-yard touchdown. I want to say it was the Bills game, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that was a screen pass. Yes. But he fumbled too many times, to the point where that fumble, Washington losing the turnover battle was a big thing in the games. So Antonio Gibson, individual grade, B minus C. Next up, JD McKissic. JD McKissic did nothing in week 1, was a huge factor in the Giants game, and was a huge factor in the 4-game winning streak down the stretch. So, Washington, when he went down with injury in the Seahawks game, late in the Seahawks game, got a concussion, and the next game against the Raiders, his absence was felt, and it hurt. Because Taylor Heineke, is used to checking it down to McKissick, getting 3 yards, 4 yards, things like that. JD McKissick did have big plays, but he was also known for those little plays that got Washington to 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, things like that. So JD McKissick, even though he didn't, make a huge impact, he made an impact good enough where when he got hurt and missed the rest of the season after the Seahawks game, I was like, man, we really need JD McKissic. If we had JD McKissic here, it would have been, good. But it is what it is. JD McKissic, for me, gets a B plus. Next up is Jaret Patterson. And Jaret Patterson, I only have like just a handful of games to grade him on. So I don't know. You guys can agree with me or disagree with me on where, I grade him or not. But like, be just between you and me, viewers, I think that Jaret Patterson, the game, again, the Eagles game was where he shined most because Antonio Gibson got COVID. So he was out for that game because he needed to test positive and he didn't before the game. So Jaret Patterson, he did have a solid game receiving and running that game. He did have a solid game when Antonio Gibson was benched. So, he did make runs when Antonio Gibson was benched because of the fumbling problem as well. So he also did have a bursting touchdown. I think it was like a 5-yard touchdown in the Eagles game too. So, he made an impact in one game. Antonio's, I was talking about JD McKissick's presence being missed, but when Antonio Gibson got COVID, Jaret Patterson filled in rather nicely. And I think he could be another featured back. Maybe Ron Rivera and this offense need to incorporate him more, this upcoming season. So for me, I'm going to give Jaret Patterson a B plus here. Jonathan Williams, again, another guy that, stepped in nicely with big runs, when Antonio Gibson got benched in the first Cowboys game, when, he needed to step up when Antonio Gibson got COVID, had a solid performance, Jonathan, he played in the last Giants game. So he also fit nicely, got a touchdown in the Cowboys game too. So, on a handful of plays, he was nice, undrafted, free agent or whatever, veteran, a good veteran presence or whatever, so I'm going to give this guy a C plus. And I think I said it. I think I said I gave Antonio Gibson a B minus to a C. My bad. I meant B minus to a C plus. My bad. So if you add all the ingredients to this, the running backs all together get a B plus. Not B plus, a B. I'm gonna give them a B. All together for the running backs. And next up, after my next water break, is gonna be the wide receivers.